What's good YouTube, Ben here, welcome to the next video on the channel. In this one, I'm going to give you another redo of one of my builds. This is Kuva Karak for the Steel Path in 2024. Let's get into this. Alright, so I've been looking over a lot of my old builds, and I've been improving them. So this is another, I've done a few the past few weeks. I've done like Optical Vandal,
Ordis wonders.
Aximati Prime. This time I'm going with Kuva Karak, because sometimes you just need a good assault rifle. So let's jump into the build, the redone build, and I will show you what this thing can do. So, we're running Galvanized Chamber for 80% multi-shot and on-kill, plus 30% multi-shot for 20 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. Malignant Force for 60% toxin and 60% status chance. Galvanized Aptitude for 80% status chance and on-kill plus 40% direct damage per status type affecting the target for 20 seconds, stacks up to 2 times. Rhyme Rounds for 60% cold and 60% status chance. Critical Delay for 200% critical chance and negative 20% fire rate. Hellfire for 90% heat. Hunter Munitions for 30% chance to apply slash procs on critical. And Vital Sense for 120% critical damage. And in our extra slot, we've got Vigilante Supplies, which Vigilante Supplies is one of the only mods I'd consider putting in here. So it converts secondary ammo pickups to 30% pickups of ammo maximum, and 5% chance to enhance primary critical hits from primary weapons. And then in the arcane slot, we're running Primary Merciless, which at rank 5, on kill, plus 30% damage for 4 seconds, stacks up to 12 times, and 30% reload speed. Now, for the extra slot, you could fit in a few other things like Hush if you want to make it silent. But that's about it really for extra slot weapons for this weapon. But we're going with 69% critical chance, 4.6 times critical multiplier, 93% status chance, and of course we're running our elements which are viral and heat. So viral being better for slashing through health, and heat for going through armor. Now, because this is a Kuva weapon, it has a status built in, and the status on this one is Impact. Now, whilst Impact is not great, the reason I initially I've actually got a Kuva Lich on the go to get a new version of this, which does Toxin off the gate. But the reason I did it initially with just Impact anyway was to show how well it could work. Because you got to remember that my builds are Steel Path viable builds. They're not meant to get you to level 9,999 enemies. They are viable for the Steel Path, hence why they're called Steel Path viable builds. It's something I have to keep explaining, because if I don't, I get comments in the comment section asking, well, this build sucks, it can't get to, like, the highest level enemies. Well, it can. It can go onto the Steel Path, which is generally the highest level enemy in the game. It's up to you guys, the viewers, whether or not you want to try and take them up to level 9,999 enemies. If you do, then cool. I mean, this build's probably not for you. But if you're like me, you're a casual player who plays Steel Path, but doesn't spend all day on the game to get to level 9,999 enemies, then these builds can work for you. But let's jump into the mission. I'll show you what this thing can do. Alright, so as per normal, we're here at Oxymoko in the Void, and I'll quickly point out why we're here as per normal. So we're here because here you're dealing with the Corrupted, and with the Corrupted, you're dealing with enemies with just health, enemies with health and shields, and enemies with high armor and health and shields, and it gives you a more varied example of what the weapon slash Warframe can do. But let's jump into this. Now, the first kill or two may be a little bit slow, which is fine, because look, you're not doing that much damage at first, but as soon as you take out 1, maybe 2 enemies, that's it. The weapon starts to pick up, and you start literally melting through everything. And sometimes with a game like Warframe, you just want a nice, solid, more realistic styled weapon. And that's what Kuva Karak actually is. Kuva Karak is a realistic styled weapon in a sci-fi based game. It's the best way I can put it. To activate Gloom so that we have health regeneration, because health regen is very nice. But the moment you start firing this thing, it literally just picks up, and it starts melting through everything. Now, as per usual, I'll stay in the mission long enough to show you what it can do against an Acolyte, and it works okay against Acolytes. It's not the best weapon for Acolytes, if I'm being honest, but for other general enemies, it works absolutely fine. Like, you can melt through pretty much everything that comes in your way, even like heavily armored Xmas units, which we'll probably see a few anyway, so you'll see how it works against them. The only Eximus I found that it's a little bit slower on is Shield Eximus, like, you know, the Corpus ones. Oh, got a mod. Nice. Very rare to get a mod drop for me. I typically don't see, and even if it's a mod I'm not probably going to use, or one I already own, but what are you going to do? But yeah, this weapon slays. Like, it does really nicely just for general usage on the Steel Path. The cool thing as well with a lot of my builds is I try and make them as budget as possible. Sometimes with some mods, you can't skip out on them. Like, you just can't. Because, say for example, like Galvanized Chamber, sure, you've got Split Chamber, which is a weaker version. And you can use it, but it doesn't work as well, is the issue. Because, like, with Galvanized Chamber, it not only gives you the base multi-shot the Split Chamber does, but also increases it every time you get a kill. So, like, you are firing a lot more with it, so it is very difficult to skimp out on some mods. Some mods you can. Like, if you want to run, you know, let's say, Virulent Scourge over... like the base toxic mod, I can't remember the name of it for the life of me right now. I'm sort of brain farting. You can do that because that will it will give you less status damage, but it will also give you status chance. So it's more, it can be worth it. But some mods you just can't skip out on. You need to use them because they're just too good. But to be fair, like, you get access to Galvanized Chamber without actually having to do any Steel Path. You do that through arbitrations. So, and arbitrations are sort of like the in the middle point between Steel Path and normal Star Chart. But, like, sometimes you just want a good gun, and Kuva Karak is that. Like, Kuva Karak is a solid weapon, and the cool thing with the Kuva and Tenno weapons is you can get them before you even do Steel Path. Like, they're accessible from, well, pretty much from when you can access them. Don't get me wrong, like, in order to be able to actually take out the Sister of Parvos or the Kuva Lich, there is a strategy I've got for that, which is really cool, and it basically guarantees you will do it at pretty much any level, providing you have the right Warframe and the right weapon. But technically it is possible from, like, Mastery rank, like, 1, because if you buy the frame, then you can do it. Right, Kuva, not Kuva Lich, that's the Acolyte coming in, very nice. I couldn't remember to word them for a second. Would help if I actually aimed correctly. Right, where's the Acolyte? There he is. So, it melts through his shield pretty darn fast, and it actually does an okay job of rinsing through health as well, but it isn't as fast going through health. So you can also use your melee weapon, which is usually preferred for Acolytes anyway. But as you can see, it does take their health down pretty substantially. When, of course, I can hit them. That one does have invisibility frames, which is annoying. But there we go. Acolyte taken. You can take out an Acolyte with just Kuva Karak. Like I said, wouldn't recommend it. I'd recommend a mix of Kuva Karak and your melee weapon. Or your secondary, depending on what your secondary is. But yeah, that's been the build for Kuva Karak in 2024. If you want to see more like this on YouTube, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Don't forget to turn on notifications. Don't forget I do live stream when I go live. I go live here on YouTube and over on Twitch and on TikTok all at the same time. My streams here on YouTube are in shorts form factor, some more for mobile, but if you want to catch the exact same streams at the exact same time in full 1080p, then go join me on Twitch. And don't forget you can also support the channel further by becoming a channel member from as little as 99 pence per month.